Welcome to About Mansfield. It's your audio newspaper. I'm Steve Casillo, not broadcasting from the Somark studios. I've been called away due to a family emergency, and with that said, we present an abbreviated version of the podcast this week. Angel and Brian, they have left us with new content as well as our interview with Ben Barber Teacher Chefs. So after the break, we will go straight to the features section. We'll take another short break and go right to the interview. Big thanks to producer Andrew Miner for piecing this episode together. I will be back next week. In the meantime, let's turn the page to the features section.
I'm Angel Biasatti, and today on Methodist Mansfield News to Know, we're talking about one of the simplest, yet most effective ways to improve your health.
In this week's Cocktail of the Week, imagine a cocktail that captures the allure of that perfect moment when day turns to night, when dark spirits meet effervescent spice in a dance of sophisticated romance.
Hey there, it's Luke from Cool Hand Electric. Are you tired of dealing with plugs or lights that just won't cooperate? Well, don't fret. Give us a call. Worried about power outages or surges damaging your precious electronics? We've got you covered. Whether it's a whole house generator or surge protection, our solution-oriented Cool Hands are ready to tailor the perfect option that suits your needs and budget. At Cool Hand Electric, excellence is still cool.
Cool Hand, Cool Hand, Cool Hand, where excellence is still cool.
Are you ready to create unforgettable memories? Picture this: an enchanting event venue nestled amidst breathtaking landscapes with panoramic views right here in Mansfield. The Grand View Event Center is the perfect setting to bring your vision to life. From intimate gatherings to large-scale extravaganzas, the Grand View has flexible spaces to accommodate any occasion, be it a graduation or school function, art exhibition, or birthday or anniversary party. Book your next unforgettable experience at thegrandviewmansfield.com. That's thegrandviewmansfield.com. The Grand View Event Center, where memories are made and dreams become reality. Book your event today.
At Methodist Mansfield Medical Center, we've been caring for our home team for over 15 years. Today, you'll find award-winning physicians on the medical staff, advanced neurosurgery, a level 3 trauma center, critical care for newborns, and comprehensive orthopedic care. Methodist Mansfield, delivering the care our friends, neighbors, and home team depend on. That's community, and why so many people trust Methodist.
Hi, I'm Parker James and Caden Shea from the band Olivox, and you're listening to About Mansfield.
Walking. Exercise doesn't have to be complicated. Walking is the most natural human movement, and it's easy, low-cost, low-tech way to stay healthy. And it offers so many health benefits. It improves circulation and strengthens our heart function. It reduces stress and supports joint health. It lowers the risk of osteoporosis. It enhances our sleep quality. And it releases the feel-good hormones that boost our mood. So first, set a goal. Aim for 30 minutes of walking each day. If finding a full 30-minute block is too challenging, just break it into 3 10-minute walks throughout the day. Research shows that 3 shorter walks can just be as effective as one 30-minute session. The key is to start a comfortable pace and gradually build up to your goal. And movement, any movement, is better than none. Let's talk about some tips for an enjoyable walk. If walking alone feels dull, invite family or friends to join you. Change up the route to keep things interesting. Pay attention to your intensity level. A light intensity, you should be able to sing. A moderate intensity, you should be carrying on a conversation comfortably. Vigorous intensity, talking becomes difficult. Even though walking is natural, maintaining good form can enhance its benefit and prevent discomfort. Keep your head up and look forward, not down at your feet. Relax your neck, shoulders, and back while keeping your posture straight, but not stiff. Swing your arms naturally with a slight bend at the elbows. Engage your core muscles. Walk smoothly, rolling from heel to toe, and breathe in through your nose and through your mouth. Always consult with your physician before beginning any fitness program to ensure it's safe for you. Invest in good footwear to protect your joints and enhance your comfort. If you need a primary care physician, call 877-637-4297 or visit methodisthealthsystem.org/find a physician. I'm Angel Biasatti for the About Mansfield podcast.
This week's feature is The Midnight Kiss, an enchanting version of the classic Dark and Stormy that emerged in the craft cocktail renaissance in the early 2010s. While the Dark and Stormy's origins trace back to Bermuda's sailing community in the 1800s, our modern interpretation adds black raspberry liqueur and transforms this maritime classic into a romantic masterpiece. Today, we're concluding our February Love Potion series with a cocktail that proves romance doesn't end with Valentine's Day. As February draws to a close, this sophisticated sipper reminds us that love, like fine rum, only gets better with time. But as always, don't worry about taking notes as I'm giving out the ingredients and instructions. I'll always post them every Wednesday on bourbongospel.com. The ingredients: 2 ounces of a dark rum, preferably one that has a little age on it, 3/4 of an ounce of blackberry liqueur, a 1/2 ounce of fresh lime juice, ginger beer to top. Certainly Gosling's will work in a pinch, but my favorite ginger beer, as you well know, is the Q ginger beer. And then fresh blackberries and a mint sprig for garnish. How are we going to make this romantic finale? First, fill a Collins glass with fresh ice. Then add rum, blackberry liqueur, and lime juice. Then stir gently to combine, and then top with the ginger beer. Garnish with skewered blackberries and a mint sprig. What's the flavor profile of this cocktail? Primary is first thing you're going to pick up is that rich rum and the spicy ginger from the ginger beer. Secondly, you're going to pick up that sweet, tart blackberry notes. How's it going to be on your tongue? The finish is going to be bright. It's going to be effervescent with warm spice notes. And why do we want to conclude our Love Potion series with this cocktail? The Midnight Kiss represents the sophisticated evolution of romance, where the sweetness of young love meets the complexity of maturity. The combination of the aged rum and the blackberry liqueur creates depth, while the ginger beer adds that spark that keeps romance alive. Pro tip: the matter of rum matters significantly here. Look for aged rum with notes of vanilla and caramel to complement the blackberry liqueur. The Mount Gay Black Barrel or the Appleton Estate Reserve Blend work beautifully on this cocktail. But as always, I'm open to hear your take and your input. You can reach me at brian@bourbongospel.com. And until next week, as Mark Twain said, too much of anything is bad, but too much whiskey is barely enough. Reporting for the About Mansfield podcast, I'm Brian Certain. And you're not.
Hey there, it's Luke from Cool Hand Electric. Are you tired of dealing with plugs or lights that just won't cooperate? Well, don't fret. Give us a call. Worried about power outages or surges damaging your precious electronics? We've got you covered. Whether it's a whole house generator or surge protection, our solution-oriented Cool Hands are ready to tailor the perfect option that suits your needs and budget. At Cool Hand Electric, excellence is still cool.
Cool hand, cool hand, cool hand, where excellence is still cool.
Hi, this is Joe Jenkins with Joe Jenkins Farmers Insurance, specializing in auto, home, commercial, and life insurance. I was born and raised here in Mansfield, Texas. We're active in the community, and Mansfield's a town we really care about. Our office has over 30 years' experience in the insurance industry, and we're passionate about what we do and about customer service. For a free quote, please visit our website at joejenkinsinsurance.com or give us a call at 817-472-6058. Once again, that website is joejenkinsinsurance.com.
Imagine a city where innovation knows no bounds, where dreams take flight, and the future unfolds before your very eyes. Welcome to Mansfield, a beacon of growth and a testament to vision. In the heart of Mansfield, a remarkable transformation is underway. But it's not just about the physical landscape. It's about the spirit that drives us forward. a spirit of collaboration that bridges cultures, a spirit of entrepreneurship that fuels prosperity, and a spirit of community that binds us as one. Mansfield is more than just a place. It's a canvas where diversity paints the picture of progress. From art festivals that ignite creativity to tech hubs that redefine boundaries, this city celebrates every voice, every passion. Mansfield, where growth knows no limits and the vision is limitless. Brought to you by the unstoppable spirit of the Mansfield Economic Development Corporation.
Hello, I'm local movie producer Michael Hill, and you're listening to About Mansfield.
Welcome back to another segment of About Mansfield. I'm Steve Casillo as we make the transition from news to talk. And in the studio today, oh my gosh, it's one of my favorite topics. We're talking food again. And in the studio today, he was the Teacher of the Year in 2019 for MISD, Chef David Robison. Welcome to About Mansfield.
Hi, thank you. This is Chef David Robison. Thank you for having me on today.
Absolutely. And also to my left, that would be your right, Chef Zachary Mann. Welcome to About Mansfield.
Welcome, welcome. It's great to be here, Chef Zachary Mann of Ben Barber.
Yeah, we're talking food. We're talking all kinds of things. First of all, there are two of you here. Who's the one in charge?
I think we're a team, but they would say that I'm the department chair.
So you're the department. Okay.
I'm kind of a boss, no boss.
So David's in charge.
Yeah.
All right. Let's first start with your backgrounds. David, where did you become a chef, and how did that lead to Ben Barber?
Well, I actually started cooking in high school. Before high school, my freshman year, 8th grade year, washing dishes. And that led to a job in a big hotel resort. From there, just doing various cooking things with various small restaurants, mom and pop's restaurants. I got some certifications at the Marriott where I worked. Moved to Texas, worked around several different restaurants here, Razoo's, Mimi's, Cotton Patch Cafe, different things like that as general manager or kitchen manager. And then finally, one year I decided to leave, and I got a job as a high school cafeteria manager because I wanted to go to seminary. And from there, I entered into the classroom because there was a need for a culinary instructor in the classroom.
There you go.
Yeah. That's it, in a nutshell.
Chef Mann,
Yeah.
and your background, how did you eventually get to Ben Barber?
Yeah, so as a kid, I loved watching Alton Brown, and I really enjoyed that kind of food science side. So whenever I was in high school, I was still a little bit on the fence. I was kind of between photography, finance. And then one day I was like, you know what? I like cooking. I like the science. Let me go all in. And I was able to compete with our main competition, Pro Start, made it to nationals. And because of that, I was able to go to culinary school at Sullivan University in Louisville, Kentucky. And then all throughout that, I was working in restaurants in high school at a barbecue restaurant, in culinary school at different Italian restaurants. And then I eventually moved back, and I was working over at Italy over in North Park.
Yeah.
And I got to see a lot of different styles between the 3 different restaurants that they have. And one day, getting ready for dinner service, Chef Robison called me up and said that they need another hand on the culinary instructor team. And I was able to come in and fill the spot.
You mentioned, because this is one of the questions that pronunciation. So you mentioned culinary. Is that correct? It's not culinary or culinary or how, what's the word?
It's culinary.
Culinary.
Yeah. Culinary.
Because I hear people say culinary.
I think they're pronouncing it like it's spelled, but it's culinary.
Culinary.
Yeah. Even with like the Michelin Guide, surveying restaurants, certain people say Michelin. It's all just semantics.
That sounds French.
Yeah.
Well, some people say potatoes.
Potato.
Yeah.
Hey,
there you go.
But it's culinary.
Let's call the whole thing off.
I get that sometimes when they say culinary, and I'm like, oh, okay.
Okay. Culinary.
Yes.
All right. Let's talk about the kids. And when you're teaching the kids, is there, I would assume they don't just go right into the kitchen and fire up the gas stove. There's what's going on before they actually make it to the kitchen?
Well, I think as a consensus on the teacher's side, we try to give them some safety and sanitation first, some knowledge when they first start our program. It's a 4-year program at Ben Barber Innovation Academy. We have Intro to Culinary, so we want to give them a little history of the food service industry worldwide. From there, we want to start building on their serve safe principles, washing your hands correctly, handling food correctly, things like that. And then we slowly ease them into the kitchen on cleaning and sanitizing, things like that, because we do serve the public at our high school and we don't want them to get sick.
Talk about savvies then, since you mentioned serving the public.
Well, Savvy's not my thing. I love to go eat at Savvy's, but I enjoy that Chef Mann is over Savvy's. You know, as a former student with us, he really understood Savvy's. And so coming back, you know, was just a no-brainer to put him in charge of Savvy's. You have a nice, fresh face, fresh young guy that is very innovative. So,
and I noticed that because I subscribe to the Savvy's Facebook page that not only is there the constant menu, but you're also getting into special menus. And I believe earlier in January you did pho.
Yep. Yes, sir. Chicken pho.
And I was so close to going. And because January was cold, and I thought, oh my gosh, this was perfect. What else you mentioned chicken pho. What else was on the menu back then?
Yeah, so with our Vietnamese features, we had pho gia, that chicken pho. We also had bun mi, which is going to be one of my personal favorites. Nice spicy pork braised with, you know, the pickled daikon, carrot on a French baguette. Mm-hmm. We also had ban flan, which is kind of like a Vietnamese take on a flan because you have a lot of that French colonial influence. And then we also had Vietnamese coffee, which I definitely had a glass every single day.
You only needed one a day.
Yeah.
There you go. Do you follow then culinary trends that are happening, whether it's local trends, barbecue, things like that, national trends, international trends, and do they eventually make it into the Ben Barber kitchen?
Well, everyone should know that Ben Barber Innovation Academy kitchens are American Culinary Federation certified. We're accredited by them, and our students are earning 2 different certifications, one as a fundamental pastry cook and one as a fundamental cook. And so when we see trends, we try to teach them all of the current techniques, but we also try to go back and teach them all of the older techniques so that when they leave, they are up to date on, you know, pretty much what's happening in the field today. And so we try to keep some of those foods around. Especially on the ProStar side, you'll see Michelin type of plates. So they get some of those trends, and then they'll get some of the old school, this is just straight cooking techniques and things like that. So we try to do a mix of both, would you say?
Yeah, definitely. And I think one of the best ways to see those culinary trends is with, like you were mentioning, plating, because no longer are you seeing orange twist, sprigs of kale on plates, you know. Now we're getting into much more Michelin quality plating. Like 2 years ago, circular plates were all the rage, but now we're kind of going more in a linear plating fashion. So it's always changing, and we want to make sure that they're up to date on what's going on with the industry.
I think I saw a bowl of chili that was a square bowl.
Yep.
And so these are industry trends that you're picking up on and following?
Definitely, yeah. And we even let some of the upper level students research those trends themselves. So whenever they graduate, they have the skills. So if they were, let's say, sous chef, now they can do that independent research.
For the uneducated listener out there who doesn't know what a sous chef is, what would that be?
Yeah, so sous just means under, second. It's just going to be the person who is right underneath the executive chef. So let's say they need a vacation, a day off. The sous chef is going to be the one sweeping in, taking charge.
When I'm watching shows like The Bear or any other type of cooking show, the main actor whose name escapes me, using things like long tweezers to place edible flowers. Are we getting this deep into with students, or
So in the everyday normal class, we do not get that deep. But if you were to follow our ProStart Culinary team or our restaurant management team, we do actually get that deep.
Wow.
Because in the ProStart Culinary, they have 60 minutes to make 6 plates, 2 appetizers, 2 entrees, 2 desserts, no running water, no electricity, but they are Michelin-worthy plates.
Wow.
And so they're on the upper end. And so you will see some of them using tweezers and different types of sauces and different type of specialty desserts. And we do teach some of that in class, right? We get into that. But as far as the plating style on the outside, and then in Savvy's, he has some really unique plating. I mean, they are definitely up to date to what we're doing in the industry right now. So,
if there was one technique that the average person, not a student in your culinary class, the average person, if there's one technique that they should learn to take into the kitchen with them, what would that technique be?
I think if we were to look at each other, I would say knife skills.
Yeah.
Yes.
I would definitely think that they need to be able to handle a knife sufficiently and adequately enough to produce some things that they want. Because if you can make some precision cuts and things like that, you will definitely make your plate look a lot better.
And the importance of a sharp knife.
Yes. I'll let Chef Mann talk about the importance of a sharp knife.
Yeah, because whenever you don't have that sharp knife, you're forcing more pressure down, and that's when things start to slip. And even just like how you hold the knife, holding the blade with a pinch grip, bear claw with the other hand, that way you're not losing fingertips. But not only does it look better, it presents better whenever you're plating at home, but it also tastes better because if I have more consistent knife cuts, it's all going to cook a lot more evenly.
And that's funny you say plating at home because that's actually a term that we use. That I'm the cook of the house, and in fact, today we're recording this podcast on Friday, February 14th. It is Valentine's Day. I'm actually doing a crab boil tonight for our dinner, awesome. And when it gets to that point, we're about 5 minutes away, and I'm pulling the plates off of the cabinet, and I'm telling everybody in the home that, hey, I'm starting to plate. It's almost time for dinner.
Right, Chef?
Yeah.
Come on, Chef.
And it's funny because my daughter and my daughter's 24 and she loves to cook. She's kind of picked up on that creative part of I can take a dash of this and a dash of this. There are no measurements in my daughter's life, and which she learned from me. And there is that yes, chef going on in our
cool.
kitchen. Yeah.
That's really cool.
And I would assume that's going on in the Ben Barber kitchen.
Oh, yes, definitely. We do. We talk about kitchen talk, kitchen communication. It's vital. 1, so no one gets injured. 2, everybody's informed where you are at all times and what's going on. We work on that from the first class all the way to the last class in our program so that people are moving around in a professional environment, and it sounds just like a kitchen that you would see in a professional environment, and it feels like that when you're in our kitchens.
And when the students graduate, they're ready for a professional. They're ready to become a professional chef.
Definitely, yeah. Part of why we went with our ACF accreditation is so that whenever students graduate our program, they can either become certified fundamental cooks or certified fundamental pastry cooks. And that is with, like Chef Robison said earlier, the American Culinary Federation, which is the largest networking group of chefs in the U.S. So for them to not only have that certification, but also be enrolled with the ACF, we're giving students and now graduates paths other than just a traditional culinary school, because then with the ACF, they could go into mentorship programs, and Chef Rob can speak more on that.
So we have a mentorship program with the Fort Worth Club, downtown Fort Worth.
Oh, nice.
Currently, we have about 9 students that are in their mentorship program with the ACF, and by the time they're 20 years old, 21, after 2 years there, 4,000 man-hours of learning and 2 years of college. They are certified sous chefs with the American Culinary Federation. Okay. And so they're earning a wage. They're learning everything in the kitchen. So it's a working chef program. It's really nice because those kids are ready to go to work. And so we follow that that saying from Mansfield ISD, our students are college ready, career ready, and life ready.
Yeah.
So always. And so that's one thing we love about our program. Chef Mann and I, we're very passionate about it because we want our kids to be ready to represent themselves when they go out on a job interview or they get the job, that they have the skills necessary to keep the job.
And this, you're big into competition.
Yes, sir.
Talk about, because I know that your culinary students have done some pretty awesome stuff.
We've grown a lot in the last 9 years that I've been at Ben Barber Innovation Academy with ProStart program. And so ProStart is just a nationally recognized program with the National Restaurant Association. And they put on the biggest competition for high school students, whether they're in restaurant management or culinary arts. It's a 2-part. We also do Family Career Community Leaders of America, which is FCCLA. We also participate in Skills USA, which is a skill-based culinary competition. We also have a barbecue team, which is a Texas thing. It's huge here in Texas, barbecue. But with ProStart, it just gives our kids a leg up on what it's really like to work on the line or really like to create a restaurant from the ground up, learn how to market it, which Chef Mann can speak very well about because he was one of our former students that did it. So he knows. He was our first national champion. And he helped put Ben Barber on the map, so to speak. So, he's the originator. I tell all the kids, he's the originator. He set a lot of the foundation for our greatness that we achieved to. And he just helped set the standard for our school.
Chef Mann, then, talk about the competition you won.
Yeah, so I did the restaurant management half, which in groups of like 4, and you can have an alternate, so 5 together. You pretty much build a restaurant concept from the ground up, and that's everything from the floor plan, menu design, the menu items. You have to do the costing, marketing, really flesh this out to where pretty much you have this business portfolio that you could hand over and get an investment with. And then also for the competition, you have, 7 rounds of judges?
7 rounds of judges.
Yeah, and it's
like Shark Tank.
Yep.
Yeah. It's like Shark Tank.
And they ask you questions about anything, everything, and they even have a section called critical thinking.
Yes.
And they do that twice, and you have no idea what they're going to ask you, and it's anything from safety and sanitation, marketing, business operations.
Or some wild, crazy scenario that actually happened in a restaurant. Like, how would you handle it? So
yeah. And then you have to think on your feet as a team and represent your restaurant well.
Okay.
So when he talks about those competitions, they're very cross-curricular because you're learning writing, you're learning the math, you're learning history, learning, like with our culinary team, they put together a full-scale recipe book. Everything that hits their plate is there's a recipe, and it's costed to the penny because they have to create the menu with the pricing, and a 3-course meal can't exceed $125. And so we're teaching these young people how to actually be professionals.
And I would assume, okay, $125, but you also have to make a profit. So what is the cost of the protein, the vegetables, all the way down?
I'm glad you asked.
To what is the cost
so
of
we in the competition, we run industry standard at a 33% food cost.
Yeah.
Right? They're not responsible for learning how to do labor and things like that right now, but food cost is a huge one. So they can run in an efficient, profitable restaurant.
All right. What's the most challenging dish you've had your students prepare?
Wow.
I think one of my favorites that I do every year is I have my kids do a perfect medium rare duck breast because that level of control of heat to where you get the skin nice and crispy, but you're still rendering out that layer of fat while maintaining medium rare can definitely be really intimidating. But whenever they finally accomplish it and they do their plated appetizer, plated entree, really kind of sparks something in the students.
Yeah. And for me, it would be some type of fish dish.
Yeah.
Like last year, we worked on a salmon and getting that medium rare. And this year, we're working on another piece of fish, halibut or sea bass, and just getting it cooked to the right crispiness and tenderness, but still have that nice soft center. And to be able to see students achieve that, it's a beautiful thing for us.
It is. Salmon is big in our house.
Yeah.
We will buy an entire, 2-foot long fillet and we've got a Blackstone griddle, and it starts on the griddle, but I is using a meat thermometer, is that cheating?
No, not really. I think a meat thermometer is needed, especially when you first start cooking.
Yeah.
Until you can learn how to temp by touch, right? And then you get it just right. But we need to teach the kids to use the meat thermometer, and people need to use the meat thermometer because most foodborne illnesses occur at home.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Because it's either undercooked or it's not prepared sanitarily. So, yeah, you need to use it. I mean, until you at least learn what you're doing.
Yeah. We talked about the challenging dishes that you've presented to your kids. What are the most popular dishes your kids like to your students?
So what if we went by grade level?
Yeah.
So intro by class. So if we were in intro, I think the two they love the most is the chocolate chip cookie and the pizza.
Definitely.
They love the pizza from scratch, and they love the chocolate chip cookie from scratch. So when it goes to culinary, we do the chicken fab lab.
Yeah.
And they're learning to pan-sear chicken breasts, poach. No, not poach, but they learn to
deep fried chicken.
Deep fried chicken.
Yeah,
they love that.
Oh,
they love that one. They love the whipped potatoes. They love learning how to whip potatoes and different things. The other day I did a creaming lab. Like we reduced cabbage, like a Napa cabbage with heavy cream and bacon. The kids loved it, and that was a new one for us. So when we get to the advanced level, our advanced baking and pastry, we're the only culinary program in the state of Texas that has a dedicated baking and pastry class.
Oh my gosh.
For a full year. So they're decorating cakes and making custards and all types of things. So I wouldn't even know. I think last year they did a plated dessert, which I think they all really love. So they had to come up with this unique dessert and they plated it. That was really cool for them. And then in Savvy's, the practicum class, I think everything they do on the menu is really cool. They just love cooking it all.
Yeah, especially with this past year or two trying to kind of increase our international influence. The kids love doing the international features, like you were saying with the pho. Just last week or the week before, we had Texas features. We were showcasing some local flavors.
Oh, yeah.
And now we're moving on to Mardi Gras. So they love getting to experience different cuisines.
Well, that's funny because I was just about to segue into Mardi Gras because you have a big event coming up on February 27th, and I saw I saw the menu earlier today, but I didn't commit it to memory. Talk about what's going to happen at the Mardi Gras dinner. You know, Savvy's is usually open from noon to 1:30.
Yes, sir.
This is a dinner that Mansfield residents can attend. Talk about the Mardi Gras dinner.
Yeah, so this is our second annual Mardi Gras dinner. Excited to bring it back. Last year we did 3 courses. This year we're upping it to 4 with maybe a couple surprises along the way. But doors are going to open at 6 p.m. and we're going to start off strong with some seafood gumbo. Then we're going to have an intermezzo, a nice little lemon sorbet with a Cajun twist on there. Then since it's a prefix meal, we have few different options for entrees. We have like a roasted chicken item, shrimp etouffee, and why am I blanking on the last one? Yeah, whatever. It'll come to me. And then after that, we're going to finish with bread pudding.
Oh, nice.
And of course, we got to have beignets come make an appearance at some point.
Yeah.
Les bon temps roulés.
There you go.
There you go.
Go, chef.
That's
That was just part 1 of our 2-part interview with the Ben Barber Culinary instructors. Be sure to listen to part 2 in next week's episode of About Mansfield.
About Mansfield is recorded at Podcast Mansfield Recording Studio. Hosts Steve Casillo and Colleen Daniel. Moment with the Mayor feature, Michael Evans. Methodist Mansfield News to Know, Angel Biasatti. Mansfield Real Estate Market Update, Angela Hornberg. Cultural Arts Calendar, Tim Roberts. Cocktail of the Week, Brian Certain. Post-production editing, mixing, and mastering, Steve Casillo and Andrew Miner.
This podcast is copyrighted by Podcast Mansfield Recording Studio and is intended for the private use of our audience. Any other use of this podcast without written consent is strictly prohibited. We thank you all for listening on behalf of the entire news team. I'm Steve Casillo, and this is About Mansfield.